right. Not clicking. Oh, okay. All right. This one. I clicked the button.
What?
I clicked the button. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh, girl. Okay.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Did you know that over 30 million people worldwide struggle with an eating disorder? Did you also know that nearly 15,000 people yearly die of one? My eating disorder took over many years of my life. Throughout recovery, I came to the conclusion that nobody should have to experience what I and many other people did. Today I will be educating you about eating disorders and the stigma that surrounds them. There are many different kinds of eating disorders and many different reasons why people struggle with one. Example, control, mental illness, body dysmorphia, or other health-related issues. The most common and the most known forms of eating disorder is anorexia nervosa and bulimia. The actual definition of anorexia, usually people with disordered body image, trying to maintain below normal weight through starvation or too much exercise. The health risks that come with anorexia include weight loss, dehydration, hair loss, infertility, gastrointestinal problems, fatigue, osteoporosis, anemia, seizures, and death. And then the actual definition for bulimia, extreme overeating, purging, vomiting, and fasting. The health risks that come with bulimia also include weight loss, permanently damaged intestines and stomach, irritable bowel syndrome, tooth decay, esophageal inflammation or rupture, and also death. I've shared the exact definitions solely for educational purposes, but eating disorders can look like anything and they do not have to fit these definitions. For a part of my project, I interviewed two people who I knew struggled with an eating disorder in the past. I interviewed a female and a male. I asked them about their past experience with their eating disorder. A few of the questions included, how did your eating disorder affect your life overall? How did it affect your physical health? How do you feel? Do you feel as if you were well supported? And do you feel as if you were previously educated on eating disorders before you struggled with one? And how do you feel you could have been better supported? I will be sharing two answers from each of the people that I interviewed. First, how did your eating disorder overall affect your life? The first answer from the female. My eating disorder took away a lot of my favorite and those around me favorite aspects of me. Nothing was enjoyable anymore except the concept of control, which became the only thing I could focus on. This led to neglect in my relationships with friends and family, and consequently I became more isolated. I would often become agitated at home over the smallest things, especially if they were food related. To this day, I don't remember much from that time period aside from my thoughts or actions related to my eating disorder. The second question I asked her was, how do you feel you could have been better supported? She said, during recovery, I wish people would have listened to me more. I know it was with good intent, but the atmosphere in my recovery felt like I had to pretend in order to progress, or else I would be punished. I had to say everything was okay to keep doing the things I loved. Eating disorders are serious, but the people with them are still people. I was able to recover a lot on my own while in an eating disorder program, but the process was extremely frustrating as I felt like I was being punished for a mental illness I was seeking help for myself. My second interview was with a male. Do you feel like you were previously educated on eating disorders before you had one? Before I struggled with an eating disorder, I was completely oblivious to the challenges they can present and their severity. I was never educated on eating disorders and how they can change, ruin, and end lives if they are not resolved. And then the last question I asked was, do you feel as if you were well supported in finding recovery? He said, I felt as if I was supported once I got on the track to recovery. However, getting there took a damaging amount of time. It took over a month of me being close to emaciated before the people around me took notice and sought help. I believe if I was more aware of the deterioration of my mental state, I could have reached out for help sooner. For this project, I made and sold jewelry. I donated all the funds that I made from selling the jewelry to the National Eating Disorder Association. I made necklaces, chokers, bracelets, rings, and earrings, and I used materials that I got from Michael's, Amazon, Joann's, and various other craft stores. I also had leftover materials from a previous jewelry business that I once had. I sold my jewelry through an Instagram account, specifically for my senior project, and I would post just pictures of the things that I made, and then people would be able to comment if they wanted it, or they would direct message me if they wanted to purchase it. And everything that I sold was under $5. Collecting the donations. Oh, here's some of the jewelry that I made. So there's an example of a ring, a necklace, a few chokers, and a bracelet, and each of these were all handmade by me. Collecting the donations, 100% of the proceeds went to the National Eating Disorder Association, as I stated. I collected the money using a specific Venmo account I created, and I held the money there until it was time to donate. I also collected $25 in cash, which I later transferred to my account to be donated. So overall, a total of $75 was donated to the National Eating Disorder Association, and I donated through their website. The National Eating Disorder Association is an American nonprofit organization that provides recovery referrals, education, and eating disorder prevention. And they organize things like charity runs, they do all that kind of stuff. Educating others. So my hope for this project is to educate as many people that I can on the severity and dangers of eating disorders. I would hope that in the future there's a certain curriculum placed in classes like PE or health that focuses on the dangers of eating disorders and how to start recovery, because throughout researching in my project, I have noticed that a lot of schools do not educate their students on eating disorders or the dangers of them, especially that they can cause death. And they do not help out with resources on how to find recovery or treatment. So I would really hope that in the future people will know the warning signs and how to get help. Like I stated, I believe that recovery and treatment should be more accessible. Some examples of treatment or like how to get yourself on the right path to recovery could be seeing a dietitian or a nutritionist, meal planning, talking to a friend or a parent or a counselor or a trusted individual, and then checking yourself into a rehabilitation program or a program to help you recover, whether that is inpatient or outpatient. I wanted to thank everybody for listening, and my hope is that we can stop the stigma surrounding eating disorders and educate others and make the recovery process more accessible to people who are struggling. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Cool. Hi guys.
Thank you.
Take a bow.